Oh,
experiments
fair
on
use.
users and secret educational purposes only.
In fact, you might have been part of
it.
it. Facebook caused an uproar last week when scientists from Cornell University, working with Facebook's own data science team, released the results of a psychological experiment that they performed on about 700,000
Oopsies.
Facebook users, none of which knew they were participating. The team
Yeah, and wait a minute. There's a thing called informed consent in the medical world that you're supposed to, like, tell me and get my consent before you research and do crap to me. I'm being trafficked by the police and CIA, and I'm very pissed off right now. I'm telling you. And to come and, like, see this crap that Facebook even admits now. These Satanists are not your friends. These Masonic people are not your friends. They're not Christians, not the good old boy you go to church with. They are in an ideology of Satanism. And they're doing psychological experiments to try to turn your brain and your consciousness into what they want you to perceive life to be. Jesus, help me, Lord, and calm.
studying what they call emotional contagion, or how people
Oh.
can influence each other's emotions. The experiment took place over 1 week in January of 2012. In all, 683,000 English-speaking Facebook users were selected at random to take part. That's about 1 out of every 1,500 total Facebook users. And once they were chosen, the contents of those users' news feeds were filtered without their knowledge. The filter hid certain posts that contained terms deemed to be either positive, like happy, good, yes, or negative, like sad, angry, or maybe a frowny emoticon. Posts were scanned for these terms using an automated program called the Linguistic Inquiry and Word Count software, so they weren't actually read by someone on the Facebook staff. The software was set up so that one group of subjects had between a 10% and 90% chance of not seeing a post if it had a lot of negative terms in it. Another group had the same chance of not seeing posts with positive words. And then after the feeds were tweaked, the same program then scanned what the subjects in the experiments posted for.
So y'all get they're playing with your emotions, they're playing with your perception of life, and they're, oh my gosh, this is illegal research.
After scanning through 3 million posts, the psychologists found that exposing users to more positive or negative content seemed to have only a small effect on what they posted. If a subject saw more posts with positive language, they were about 0.07% more likely to include positive words in their own posts. That is 1/15th of 1%. Like I said, it was a pretty small effect. You'd have to write a couple thousand words before you used one more awesome in your status update that would make a difference. Interestingly, the findings themselves got less attention from the public than the fact that the study was done at all. A lot of users, somewhat understandably, thought it was creepy that Facebook was intentionally trying to manipulate their emotions, even if it was just by 1/15th of 1%. Meanwhile, the psychological community and even some government regulators were more concerned with whether or not this was actually legal. In its defense, Facebook says that when users agree to its terms of use, they agree to take part in market research. But as any of you who've watched Crash Course Psychology know, the first principle of research on human subjects is that you need their consent, like their explicit, written, informed consent. In international law, this is known as the common rule. So, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner in Ireland and the Information Commissioner's Office of Britain are both asking Facebook some very pointed questions. But the fact is, these kinds of experiments go on all the time. In 2013, the Facebook data science team conducted an experiment on about 250 million users. They wanted to see if it was true that Friends networks created so-called echo chambers that prevented users from learning and therefore posting about things outside the interests of their group. So for a period of 7 weeks, Facebook just randomly stopped some users from seeing a link that was shared by friends. It turned out that the echo chamber effect wasn't very strong. The results showed that people get their news from a wide array of sources, and what your friends reblog has surprisingly little to do with what you end up posting about. And it's not just Facebook that does tests like this. The Google data science team conducts more than 20,000 experiments a year on its users to do stuff like refine its recommended links algorithm or see what shade of blue people respond to more in an ad. Information like this is valuable in a concrete cash money sense, so companies are probably going to keep collecting it.
Yep.
Facebook apologized.
There you go. Whoopsies. We didn't mean to, like, psychologically analyze you and affect your, psyche. Oopsies. These people are sick people. All right, y'all have a good day. Peace out.